because as a new teacher, parents are very intimidating for a new teacher in the sense of, there is this relationship that has to be formed with strangers, essentially.
Right, definitely.
So can you talk about some of that in terms of maybe even your own experience as a young teacher or other teachers that you've seen that have come through?
Definitely. I'm trying to think about what it was like for me as a teacher and how I kind of, like you said, strengthened. I think it kind of just comes naturally for some people too. I'm trying to think of how to start it from everything you just said, what I should say to open it up.
Having daily communication with parents is so critical, but often it's something that really has to develop over time, and it can feel intimidating.
Okay. Having daily communication with parents is very critical, and I think as a new teacher that sometimes can be intimidating to establish those rapport and gain that trust of the families. I think that it's something that takes experience, and I think we all in the beginning of our careers have probably stumbled across some things and maybe reflect back and would have done them differently, but I think I learned pretty early on how much the parents value it, and you kind of have to reach out. Sometimes families aren't as open to it as other families may be, but when you're talking about their child, it's the most important thing to them in the world, and so the interest is usually pretty high.
Okay, that's great. Let's see. Can you talk about reflection and whether it's a regular part of your practice, and what reflection means to you as a teacher in terms of your practice?
I think as a teacher, you're forced to reflect. You're forced to reflect on a daily basis, many times throughout the day, at the end of the day, when you're planning for the next day. And I think that self-reflection is a great tool to have as a teacher, and kind of stop and think about how certain situations went, and like I said, maybe what you would have done differently. Did you get the outcomes you were looking for from maybe a specific child who was exhibiting some challenging behavior or having a hard goodbye, whatever it may be? I think you have to be very flexible as a teacher, and sometimes it's trial and error. Some things work for some kids and some things don't work for other kids, and so you definitely just have to be open. And
can I ask, what inspires you? What keeps you motivated? And this is an exhausting job because you're really on the entire
all the time. Yeah.
So how do you keep your energy and rejuvenate yourself?
I definitely keep my energy in this profession because I get my energy from the kids. We definitely draw off their energy, and they are what inspires us. The children motivate us. So it's busy and it's hectic, but it's right where you want to be when you get the opportunity to work with kids every day. And I think that one thing I try to do that's always inspired me is look at it through their eyes, and when they're coming to school in the morning and what they're going to get out of that day. And really, I think that comes from compassion and just trying to be seeing things through their eyes and making the most of every experience for them.
Do you feel that it's important to know your own self as a teacher in order to be reflective and understanding of what you're doing and why you're doing it?
It's definitely important to know yourself well in terms of teaching and reflecting on the things that, I'm sorry, what was the first thing you said?
Well, is it important to know yourself
Know
well?
yourself well, okay, thank you.
So that you know.
Right. It makes you a better teacher. Yeah. Right. I heard that, and I knew that's where I was going to start, and then I was like, wait, but what was I going to say about it? Why do I need to know myself well? Sorry. Okay. I definitely think it's important to know yourself well when you're in this profession, and as a teacher, you need to know what your strengths and weaknesses are and be able to bring balance to your classroom. And some teachers, I think, may encounter a situation where they know that they're not the best one to deal with this child who's having a tantrum or they're too close to it, they need to step back and let another teacher intervene, or maybe they know that their personality isn't mashing very well with a certain parent, and they need to be able to reflect on that and not get involved in control or power issues, but say, hey, you know what, so-and-so to their co-and teacher, I really think that you should have, handle this parent or this conversation or this child or whatever it is that's happening. You definitely have to know your strengths and weaknesses when you're dealing with people.
Okay, that's it.
Oh, Lord.
It was wonderful.